in this country as well. Since the establishment of diplomatic relations between Nigeria and South Africa, we see a bright future for our relationship. Our strong bonds of friendship provide a firm foundation for our two countries for more meaningful economic cooperation. Nigeria is a host to a number of South African companies that operate in Nigeria. South Africa has always been open for Nigerian businesses, and this has been reflected in a number of investment and operations established in this country as well. Since established in this country as well. But there is much more that we need to do in this regard. We need to remove the remaining constraints to greater investment, just as we need to address some of the challenges that companies experience. We are encouraged by the actions that are being taken under your leadership, Your Excellency, to further strengthen and foster business environment in Nigeria that offers assurances to investors, including from South Africa. Our government continues with its efforts to improve the ease of doing business in South Africa. We want to enable investors to promote and operate their businesses in a manner that will enable them to pursue various opportunities in various sectors of the economy. We look forward to seeing more Nigerian companies investing in South Africa. In fact, we want to see Nigerian products on the shelves of South African shops. Our efforts to create a favorable environment include our simplified visa process for Nigerian business people to travel to South Africa. Qualifying Nigerian business people can be granted a 5-year multiple entry visa. In addition, tourists from Nigeria are now able to apply for a visa without even submitting a passport. We expect that this 11th session of our Binational Commission will enable us to consolidate cooperation in a number of other areas. Our government continues with its efforts.
Hey, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so sorry. I know I'm a bit late with this update because it happened yesterday and we're supposed to talk about it yesterday, but I just needed to digest it. You know, I think we all did. We all do. We still do need to digest it because what the heck? Are there South African companies operating in Nigeria? Yes. And they have been there for many, many years. But who owns those companies? Who owns those companies? Out of all the countries in Africa, the one country that we are always bumping heads with, I'm not talking about politicians here. We're not talking about politics. We're talking about civilians. The ones that appointed Ramaphosa to be president and to lead us. The one country that we are always bumping heads with, he wants that country to come. He mentions something like, we want to see. When he says we want to see, who is he referring to? Who is he talking about? The same president that is failing South Africa when it comes to Pakistanis and Indians selling expired goods. failing to remove them. Instead, they're like, okay, we see the need for us to intervene. You're now gonna have to register your business. Every spaza shop must be registered within certain days. That's what they said. That is all they said. And obviously there's still a lot that needs to be unpacked in regards with that, especially the fact that we have abo mama angazi noma banabo yini abazukulu or abantu abafundile makubo that are busy registering for these people under their name. I don't know if they are not aware ukuthi, first of all, your child is gonna suffer because they're not gonna have access, because now the government has taken note that you are earning 3 million rands every year. So why do you need the grant? Why do you need the NSFAS to take your child to school, to take your child to varsity? You are basically forfeiting any social grant. Please tell your parents, guys, to stop registering shops for Pakistan people. Now, in as much as I know not all Nigerians are criminals, not all Nigerians sell drugs, not all Nigerians are human traffickers, not all Nigerians are scammers, not all Nigerians are fraudsters, not all Nigerians, are whatever they are famous for. We do have some good Nigerians that run legitimate businesses that have never been involved in any sort of crime, and they are not planning to. But are we willing to risk that and say, actually, not all of them are like that, so come in, we welcome you? No, we're not. We already have our criminals in this country. We don't want to risk that. And he's talking about loosening up, the rules and visa. What is this president on about? If we want something, we can order online. Like, we do not need Nigeria to populate South Africa just like how Pakistan's and Chinese people have. We have enough of those. We have enough foreign businesses in our country. We are hosting enough foreign businesses in our country, especially the Chinese. But with the Chinese, it's understandable because they produce, even in the US, Chinese is dominating. So it's understandable. They have a lot to offer. Gay prices are cheap. But Nigeria, come on, Cyril. Honestly, I can't even say cupcake because you are not cupcaking at this point. Anyway, Jackie Pamota wrote an open letter to the president. She said, and I quote, "I don't know how to introduce myself at this point. It doesn't matter. I'm just a commoner, born in this country but living with extreme fear. We have lost so much faith and respect for your leadership. Your government is a raging fire. When will the storm end? When will you hear us? Are you not a father? Your kids are dying. I'm writing to express my deep concern about the growing threat of human trafficking, gender-based violence, and other violent crime in our country. Your recent statement allowing Nigerians to travel to South Africa with ease has sparked fear among many citizens who worry that this will open the floodgates for criminals to enter and operate freely. As we are aware, human trafficking is a serious issue in Southern Africa, with many victims being lured into forced labor, sexual exploitation, and other forms of modern-day slavery. The fact that our country still struggles with high levels of GBV, hijackings, and rape only adds to the sense of unease. Furthermore, it is heartbreaking to see that our constitutional rights are not being protected and our communities continue to suffer from poverty and unemployment. The lack of job opportunities and the feeling of being ignored by the government have eroded our faith in your leadership. Mr. President, I urge you to reconsider your decision and prioritize the safety and well-being of South African citizens. Our children deserve to grow up in a secure and stable environment, free from the threats of the violence and exploitation. We need a comprehensive plan to address human trafficking, GBV, and other violent crimes. Now, if this was coming from Juju, we would understand because he has always preached open border policy. But this is coming from the president, honey. It weighs so much. And whether we like it or not, we should be worried. whether we decide to take him serious or not, we should be worried, because at the end of the day, he has an upper hand. This is crazy, man. I remember when he succeeded, is it succeeding Jacob Zuma, and he became president, a lot of people were at ease. A lot of people had so much trust in him, and some argued, since he's a billionaire, since he's a businessman, billionaire, money in his couch, dollars. But he's not going to be involved in any corruption. He's going to make sure the country is ran correctly, and he does what's best for the country. But honestly speaking, if we're being honest, it's time for him to step down, because I mean, I know for a fact, if he were to resign today, millions of South Africans would celebrate, because we've had it. And we're not saying the next president would be better, but let's try the next one. I think it's time before we even collaborate with Nigeria, in as much as, like I said, we have so many companies, South African companies operating in Nigeria. But honey, them operating in Nigeria does not change our bank balance at all. So whether the Nigerians feel like, but we've been hosting you guys, you've not been hosting us. Those businesses have been helping you guys. They are operating there. They've been operating for years because you need them. You need them there. If you don't need them, you can close them down. I mean, it won't affect the price of bread in South Africa. Just saying. And like I mentioned, we know not all Nigerians are criminals and all of that, but we're not willing to take that risk. We would rather collaborate with, a country that is well established, a developed country. It would make sense economically to collaborate with a developed country, or a developing country. And another thing, I'm sure if we're going to have some Nigerians here in the comment section, they're going to mention apartheid. Guys, for that apartheid, I think we've paid that debt now, because honestly speaking, how many of you guys are we hosting as we speak in South Africa? Millions of Nigerians are living freely in South Africa. We have millions of you guys, and they are living nice and soft, They're going to tell you, ask them, they're going to tell you, they're living very nice and soft in South Africa. It's very nice, because we're a good host. We can argue online for all we care, but the truth is South Africans are good people. They're a good host. They would never just, but don't provoke them.